Hello children, today I am going to teach biology for the standard of 8. This is a bridge course, so you will be studying only some of the basics of biology. So we will go into the content. Today I am going to teach the cell structure, about the structure of the cell and what are their functions, and we will see what is a cell before that and who discovered it. So before going into the topic, take an example, a building. How will they construct a building? What are the materials used for building? We use sand, we use water, we use many things. We use small pebbles, rocks and all they use to build. So we need few things to construct one building, right? So likewise, this cell will be together form as an organism. So we are an organism, the plant is an organism. So all the living things are called as organisms. So how these organisms are made? Only through cells. These cells together, they form specific functions for each of the part and develop into a one whole organism. So we will go into the topic now. First, I am going to tell about the history of the cell. So, in 1655, a scientist called Robert Hooke discovered the cell. He only first had the structure of cell, discovered the structure, the shape of the cell. The cell organelles, these are the cell organelles. Like that, he mentioned it. He was the first one to mention this structure of cell. So what is his name? Robert Hooke in 1655 discovered the structure of the cell. Then moving basic structural and functional unit. So cell is the basic structural and functional unit. It is the basic unit of life, it is the structural unit of life, and it is the functional unit of life. So basic unit of life. Like I said, all the organisms, all the living things are made up of only cells. So without cells there are no life. They are the key, they are the basic unit. Without them there is no life. That is why they tell it is the basic unit of life. So it forms the base of any life form. Next is structural unit. It forms the structure, the body form of any living things, the organisms, the overall structure of the human body, the overall structure of animals, the overall structure of the plant forms. So likewise it forms the structure of the life forms. That is why it is called as the structural unit. And functional unit means it helps to function the living body. To what will happen inside us? We breathe. Without breathing we can't live. There are few functions in our body. It has to go on. For that these cells only will help. These cells only will help to take care of the functions of the human body, the living body, the plant body also. The function has to go on, then only the organism will live. So for the functioning of the various metabolic activities, cells will be used. That is why they are called as the functional unit. Cell is called as the basic unit of life and structural unit of life and functional unit of life. All the organisms are formed of cells. That is why it is called as the basic unit. It forms the structure and body form of all the living. That is why it is called as the structural unit, and it will help to take care of the metabolic activities, the functions of the body. That is why it is called as the functional unit. And next is, if cells are composed of, all the organisms are composed of cells only. So all the living organisms, like I said, it is the structural unit, it is the functional unit. In the outer part also it is made up of cells. In the inner functioning of living body also it is made up of cells. So all the organisms are composed of cells. So called as the basic unit of life. Next, unicellular and multicellular. In unicellular organisms also it will be present. In multicellular organisms also it will be present. Unicellular means the small minute organisms that we cannot see through the naked eye. Only through microscope we can view them. So in such organisms also cells will be present, but the number will differ from the lower organism and the higher organism, but the cell will be present. So unicellular organs also. So the lower organisms, those that we cannot see through the naked eye. So those are the unicellular organs. This one cell alone takes part in all the functions of the body. They will do the movement, they will do the digestion, they will do the excretion. So all the process will be taken care by one cell. So that is the uni. Uni means one unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Multi means higher organisms. So multi means many celled organisms. Many celled organisms are higher organisms. So in higher organisms also cells will be present, but they will be present in larger number. So in unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms also cells will be present. Then next is all basic functions are carried out by cells only. I said functional unit. It is the functional unit, right? So what they tell? All the basic functions, the main functions of the body, all the functions are taken care by cell only. Example, the repairment of tissues, the growth of tissue, the movement of the human body, everything will be taken care by the cells only. Repairing means, for example, sometimes we get wounds, right? We fall somewhere, or if accident happens to someone or any animal, or any injury happens in any plant, what will happen? The body itself repairs. If we get, for example, if we get a wound, what will happen? After few days, it itself will cure. How does it happen? The cells reform. They repair the tissues. So that is why for repairing the tissues and for growth. So we grow. All the living things grow. From a small baby, we would grow into a huge adult. So this process happens. So if you take plants as an example, from a seed it grows to a huge plant. So the growth happens. We grow. All the living things grow. From younger one they grow. So for that also cells are needed. That is why they help for growth. And finally for movement. For moving from one place to another, we need cells for the functioning of the body. That is what they tell. These are the three functions. So for the growth, for the repairment, and for the movement. So for moving from one place to another, for movement we need movement. The plants also have some kind of movements. They won't move from one place to another, but the movement of the leaves are there. They turn towards the sunlight. So those are also called movements in plants. Animals also move. So for that also cells are needed. So all the basic functions, all the main functions are carried out by cells only. Example, for repairment, if there is any wound or injury, it will repair the tissues. For the repairment and for growth, all human beings grow for the growth and for movement of the living things. So these are some of the basic characteristics of cell, about who discovered it and what are the names of the cells, where all it will be present, where all the cells will be present, and their basic functions. So next we are moving on to the structure of the cell. This is the structure of the animal cell. Plant cells also is an example of structure of cell, but I have taken animal cell for you. What is the difference between this cell and plant cell? That is from the animal cell and plant cell. Plant cells will have cell wall, whereas here no cell wall will be present. Only cell membrane will be present. But in plant cell wall will be present. It will be very rigid. It will be very tight. So that is the major difference. And vacuoles also few of them will be present. So this is the major difference. Other organelles are same. So here you can see the diagram of an animal cell. This is a basic structure of cell. I am going to tell the parts one by one and explain those functions. So here we have the outer membrane. This outer membrane is called the plasma membrane. What is it? The plasma membrane. It is the outermost covering of the cell. And inside that, in the center, you will have nucleus. The center, the control center of the cell. It is the brain of the cell. It controls all the activities of the cell. So the nucleus is present, and inside it the nucleolus is present, and some genetic material are present inside this cell. The nucleus, nucleolus and genetic material are present. Next we have structures like this, these curvy structures like this. This is the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is divided into two types. This part is called the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and this part, the second part, is called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. This is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this smooth endoplasmic reticulum helps in the production of lipid, the fat materials. For producing fat, this smooth endoplasmic reticulum will help. Then moving on to this area, this dotted area, this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. It will help to produce proteins. Smooth is for fats, lipids, and the rough is for protein production. These dots are ribosomes. They will be present. Since the ribosomes are present, they are called as the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and they help in the production of proteins. Next we have a structure like this in both the sides of the cell. This is the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It will give energy, the power for the functioning of the cell through ATP molecules. Through synthesis of ATP molecules, they give power to the entire cell so that they can function properly. So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Through ATP molecules, they supply power. Next, here you can find this structure. This is the Golgi apparatus. So this Golgi apparatus, what it will do, it will transport, it will pack the contents of the cell and transport throughout the cell. It will help in transporting materials throughout the cell. So this Golgi apparatus, what it will do, it will pack like Golgi vesicles. It will form circular structures like this called Golgi vesicles. Through Golgi vesicles, it will send particles throughout the cell. And next is the lysosome. So lysosome is the digestive, it is like the digestive system of the cell. It contains digestive enzymes. It will take the waste material and it will destroy it. That's why it's called as the suicidal bags. So the lysosomes are called as the suicidal bags of the cell. What it will do? It will take the waste material and destroy it. So next is microtubules and centrioles are present. So centrioles are present like this. It is a tubular structure together formed. These are single structure, single tubular structure. So the single ones are called the microtubules, and together they are called the centrioles. So these centrioles and microtubules will be present together. During cell division, if there is any division of this cell, what happens? The cell will divide into two. So during mitosis, so that process is called mitosis. So when there is a division of cell, what will happen? These microtubule and centrioles, they will produce the spindle fibers during the division of cell. So that is the function of microtubule and centrioles. So these are the basic structures of the cell, and we saw the important organelles of it. And here and there you can find ribosomes. These are the ribosomes throughout the cell. So this is the structure of animal cell and basic structure of cell. So next we are moving on to the characteristic in medium. So first we saw it is round and spherical. So the structure of cell will be round and spherical. They denote the shape of the cell, how the shape will be formed. They are round and spherical. Next is cell wall. About cell wall, what they said, it is the additional covering. So here we do not have cell wall, like I said before. In animal cell there is no cell wall, but in plant cell there is an additional covering. Apart from plasma membrane is also a covering. In plants, the cell wall is an extra covering. It is an additional covering for the cell. So that is why they tell it as cell wall is an additional covering, the extra covering for the cell. Next is nerve cell, transfer message. So here nerve cell means these Golgi apparatus, they only will transfer message, and then they will pack and transport the contents, that is the message, the products throughout the cell. So they transfer from one place to another. See, so the Golgi apparatus is the nerve cell. It transports the messages. So that is the nerve cell. And next is cell membrane. It is semi-permeable. What is it? Cell membrane is semi-permeable. So the cell membrane here is semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means what it will do, it will allow only some things, not all the things, to pass through the cell. It is like a security guard for the cell. It will allow only certain materials to pass inside the cell. If any foreign bodies comes means, it won't pass through it. It will check and then only pass. Only certain materials can pass through the cell. Not all the particles can pass through the cell, because it is semi-permeable. It will allow only certain materials to pass through it, and it won't allow the contents inside the cell will not be allowed out. So there is a restriction. So that is why it is called as the semi-permeable, partially permeable. It will permit only few particles to go out and come out. So cell membrane is the semi-permeable. So this cell membrane only guards the cell. So next is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm means it is a jelly-like substance. So cytoplasm, it is a jelly-like substance. So where the cytoplasm will be present is, it will be present throughout the cell. Everywhere around the cell, a jelly-like substance will be present. So throughout the cell, outside the nucleus, this cytoplasm will be present. Next is protoplasm, nucleus and cytoplasm. So the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm. See, cytoplasm will be present in this area, that is outside the nucleus. On the whole part, the cytoplasm will be present, whereas the protoplasm includes the nucleus also. Inside the nucleus and the whole content, all the cell organelles, protoplasm is present. So outside the nucleus, it is the cytoplasm, including the including the nucleus, the protoplasm will be present. So that is the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm. In cytoplasm, it is a jelly-like substance. It will be present outside the nucleus, all the organelles. But in protoplasm, it includes nucleus and cytoplasm. So together, all the organelles, each and every organelle is called as protoplasm. Next is nucleus. It is the center of the cell. What is it? It is the center of the cell. The center. It is present in the center. It is the center of the cell, and not only it is present in the center of the cell, it controls the cell. It is the brain of the cell, like the brain for the human body. This nucleus will control all the activities of the cell, whether power is given correctly, whether the contents are digested properly. So all the processes are undertaken by nucleus only. That is why it is called as the center of the cell. And next is nuclear membrane, the cytoplasm and nucleus. So these are some of the characteristics of plants. So in plants also the nuclear membrane will be present. So it includes cytoplasm and nucleus. Next is vacuoles, fluid filled. So vacuoles are empty spaces where fluid will be filled. So these vacuoles are larger in plant cells and very smaller in animal cells. But in plant cells you can see huge parts, empty spaces that will be filled with fluid. They are empty. Those are called the vacuoles. And the cell wall. Cell wall is, in cell wall chloroplast will be present. So in plant cells the cell wall is present. It is very rigid and strong. The chloroplast will be present. What is it? Chloroplast. So what chloroplast? Chloroplasts are not in animal cells. But why? Because animals cannot synthesize their own food. They are not green in color. Whereas plants are green in color, the green color indicates the presence of chloroplast. So chloroplast only gives chlorophyll. With chlorophyll, the photosynthesis process happens with the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide to produce starch. So this is the overall process. So in plant cell wall is present, chloroplast is present. So this chloroplast helps to produce their own food. So chlorophyll is a plastid. It is a type of plastid. The plastid name is only chloroplast. So the pigment, the plastid name is chloroplast and chlorophyll is the pigment name. Remember children, the name of the plastid is chloroplast. The name of the pigment is chlorophyll. So with this chlorophyll only the photosynthesis process takes place with the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide to produce starch for the plants. So this is the process of photosynthesis. That is why it can produce its own food. So they are called the autotrophs. So these are the basic structure of cell. Now I will give you a recap from the first. That is in 1655, Robert Hooke, who is a scientist, he only discovered the structure of cell. So the cell is the basic unit of life. It forms the basic unit of life because without cell there is no life. It is the basic. All the living things are made up of cells only. That is why it is called as the basic unit, and it is the structural unit. It forms the structure, the body form of all the living things, the plants, animals and all the living things are, the outer structure is made up of cells. So it is called as the structural unit and functional unit. The basic functions in living body, in human body, in plant body, all the bodies, the functions are carried out by cells only. The internal functions are carried by cells only. That is why it is called as the functional unit of cell. Next, all the organisms are composed of cells only. So without cell there is no life. If there is a living thing means it is made up of cells only, not any other thing. Then cells will be present in unicellular as well as multicellular. Unicellular means the lowermost organisms, the micro, small organisms. So in that also cells will be present. In higher organisms, well evolved organisms like human beings, animals also, cells will be present. So the lower organisms are called as unicellular. Uni means one, only one cell organisms are called as unicellular, where only one cell will take part in all the functions of the body. So whereas here multicellular means many cells. In multicellular, many cells will function together. Each set of cells will have their own specific functions for the taking care of the metabolic activities of the body. So multicellular organisms are the higher organisms. So in unicellular also multicellular, both of them cells will be present. So all basic functions are carried out by cells only. So the important functions of the body will be carried out by cells only. That is why it's called as the functional unit. Example, for repairment of tissues. If there is any wound, if there is any injury in the tissue, the cells only will repair the tissue, and the growth of the tissue, the tissue for development of living things, from smaller one we are growing step by step. So for that growth we need cells only. The cells has to grow, it has to regenerate. So that is why cells are used for growth. The growth of the cell only denotes the growth of the organism. Next is movement of cell. For the living thing to move from one place to another, for movement of the living body, for all the movements we need cells. So that is why these are the basic functions. So that is why they tell all the basic functions are carried out by cells only. Example, repairment, growth and movement. These are the three basic functions of the cell. Then we will move on to the structure of the cell. This is the structure of animal cell. In plant cell wall will be present and vacuoles will be very large. That is the basic difference between animal cell and plant cell. So we will see the animal cell first. This is the outermost covering, is called the plasma membrane. Then it is the covering. Next, Golgi apparatus is present. It will transport contents, messages from one place to another throughout the cell. And the centrioles and microtubules will produce spindle fibers during cell division. And endoplasmic reticulum are divided into two. One is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the other is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum will produce lipids and the rough endoplasmic reticulum will produce proteins. Since there are ribosomes present, they are called as the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So they produce proteins. Next is in the center, nucleus is present. It is the control center of the cell. It will control all the activities of the cell. It is the brain of the cell. And inside the nucleus, the nucleolus is present and genetic material are also present inside the cell. Then the lysosome is present. Lysosome contains digestive enzymes. It will take up the waste materials of the cell and destroy it. That is why it is called as the suicidal bag. The lysosome is called as the suicidal bag. And I already told you, centrioles and microtubules will produce spindle fibers during cell division. And mitochondria, it is the powerhouse of the cell. Through ATP synthesis, it will give power to the entire cell for proper functioning. Then we will move on to the organelles of the cell. First, they are round and spherical. The shape of they have denoted the shape of the cell. It is round and spherical, and the cell wall is an additional covering. Here we do not have cell wall. In plant cell, it is an additional covering. So apart from cell membrane, it is the additional covering, an extra covering for the cell. Then the nerve cell transfer message. Nerve cell means it is the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus only transfers messages. And the cell membrane is semi-permeable. So the outer cell membrane, it is semi-permeable. Why? Because it allows only certain materials to pass through and pass out. It has some restrictions. So that is why it is called as the semi-permeable. And cytoplasm means it is a jelly-like substance present throughout the cell outside the nucleus. The nucleus is not considered to be the cytoplasm. Outside the nucleus, all the contents of the cell are cytoplasm. Protoplasm means it includes cytoplasm, the presence of cytoplasm, cell organelles, and the nucleus is called as the protoplasm. And the nucleus, it is the center of the cell. It is the center of the cell. All the activities are controlled by the cell. The nucleus of the cell are controlled. It is the brain of the cell. Next is nuclear membrane. So the nuclear membrane will be present outside the nucleus. So the cytoplasm is also included. The cytoplasm and nucleus together contain the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane will be present outside the nucleus. And finally, vacuoles are fluid filled. So they are empty spaces where fluid will be filled. So they are large in plant cells and smaller in animal cells. And cell wall. So cell wall is present in plant cells, not in animal cells. So chloroplast is present in animal cells. So it is a green plastid. That chloroplast only gives chlorophyll. So that chlorophyll helps in the process of photosynthesis. So what they do, the chlorophyll will be present with the presence of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. They will produce starch for its nutrition supply. So they produce their own food. So cell wall is present, chloroplast is present. The chlorophyll contains plastids. So those plastids are called as chloroplast. The plastid name is called chloroplast. So these are the about the cell structure, the history of the cell, and about the basics of the cell, its structure and its characteristics. Now we are going to see about the microorganisms, the different types of microorganisms and what are their characteristics. So let us go into the topic now. So first I said we are going to see about the microsomes. Before that we will see what a microsome is first. So microsomes are minute single cell organisms. So they are minute single cell organisms. Minute means very small that we cannot see through the naked eye. Like without any source we cannot see in the direct eye. We can see only through the microscope. So that is why they are called as minute cells. So minute single cell. Only one cell will be present in these organisms. They are the most lower organisms, the small organisms. Only one cell will be present for all the functioning of the body. The entire body will be functioned only with the one cell. So that is why they call minute single cell organism. Example like bacteria. So bacteria is also an organism. So this is an example for microorganism. So minute single cell organism, example bacteria. Next is these microorganisms are present in unicellular as well as multicellular also. In some cases, multicellular organisms, small multicellular organisms are also considered as microorganisms. They are not only unicellular, only single celled organisms are not considered as microorganisms. Even in some cases, microorganisms also have multicellular organisms. They will have many cells. Next is they can survive in extreme conditions. So these microorganisms can survive in extreme cold when there is minus degree of weather, or when there is very hot summers like in desert, when it is very hot also, they can survive. These microorganisms can survive. And in winter times, in very cold times, very cold places where there is minus degree Celsius, there also they can survive. Even in water also these microorganisms can survive. So in all the places these microorganisms survive. So now we are going to see the types of microorganisms. So first is virus. See, so you have heard it, all these terms. It is just the basics we are going through. So first is virus. So virus, what it will be? It will be crystallized in state. It will be crystallized. That is like salt. It will be in crystallized, a strong crystal-like structure. It will be in crystallized mode on living thing. So the virus will be present anywhere. It will be present on the table. It will be present on the rock. It will be present on the mud. It is present everywhere, but it will not be active. When this virus enters inside a living body, enters inside a plant body, enters inside a human body, what it will do? It will activate. So that is what it said here. It will be in crystallized state on non-living. When it is on a non-living thing, it will be in crystallized state. Whereas if it goes inside a non-living thing, or when it goes inside a living organism, it will start multiplying. It will start multiplying inside it. It will get activated. So this is the characteristic of virus. Then we are moving to bacteria. So bacteria, it is a single cell organism. That is, it is unicellular organism. Only one cell will be present. So this bacteria is included under the plant kingdom. So under the plant kingdom, this bacteria phylum is included. Why? Because the cell wall is rigid. Since this characteristic is present in bacteria, rigid cell wall is present in bacteria, that is why they are included in plant kingdom. So it is included in plant kingdom because of the rigid cell wall present in it. So next is bacteria is visible under microscope. So with the help of microscope, we can view the shape of bacteria and how they function. So with the help of the microscope, it will be visible. So this is the characteristics of bacteria. Then moving on to the next type, fungi. So fungi is a non-green plant. Fungi is a non-green plant. So non-green plant means they do not have the pigment called chlorophyll. No chloroplast will be present. If it is not green, if it does not have chlorophyll, what will happen? It will depend on other organisms for nutrition. So we also do not have chlorophyll. We depend on other plants. We depend on animals for food, right? So likewise, this fungi also they are not green plants. They do not have the chlorophyll. So what they do? They depend on other organisms for living, for survival, for food. So I told you fungi cannot synthesize their food. So they cannot, they depend on other. Why? Because the chlorophyll is absent. So next is saprophytes and parasites. So these fungi are saprophytes and parasites. Saprophytes means, so I told you they depend on other organisms for food. We depend on plants and animals. So likewise fungi, what it will do? It will be dependent on various few host plants. So according to how they depend on, they are divided into two. First is saprophytes. So these fungi, what it will do? They depend on the dead and decayed matter. The things that are decayed, they are the rotten ones. Those are dead. So on those organisms, what they do? These fungi will grow. So they depend only on dead and decayed matter. So the rotten matter. In those things and all, these saprophytes. This category of fungi will grow. Saprophytes means they will depend on dead and decayed matter. And parasites. Next is parasites. These parasites, what they will do? This is another category of fungi. These parasites, what they will do? They will attack the host plant, the living plant, the living organisms. They will attack just like that and suck up the nutrients from the host plant. In the live human body, in the live living body, they will take up the nutrients. So these are the parasites. So fungi are based on the mode of nutrition. They are divided into two. First is saprophytes. They depend on dead and decayed matter, and parasites means they will depend on host plants, the living body, and take up the nutrients. So these are the characteristics of fungi. Next is algae. So algae are green substances that you can find in river and lake. So in river, lake, pond and all, you will find group of green patches on it. So those are called algae. So these algae will be present in wet surfaces. So I said it will be present in water. It will be also present in walls and buildings also. If the building and wall are very wet, if it is very moist and damp, then algae will start growing on it. Only on wet surfaces where the moisture content is high, in those places these algae will grow. Next is they can synthesize their own food. So the green substance, the chlorophyll is present. So they can synthesize their own food. If chlorophyll is present, with the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, they can produce their own food. They can produce starch. So they do not depend on other organisms for nutrient supply. So these are the characteristics of algae. Then next is protozoa. So these protozoa are unicellular animals. They are not plants, they are unicellular animals. So unicellular means one cell animal. Only one cell will be responsible for the entire functioning of the body. So these unicellular animals are protozoans. Protozoans contain only single cell. So some of the protozoans are parasites. Like I said here, parasites. They will attack the host plant. They will attack the living body and take up the nutrients and grow on it. So they are called parasites. So what these parasites do? They cause diseases on the living body. So if for example we are a host plant. We are a host animal. What happens if a parasite attacks? We get a disease. Likewise, it is applied to plants also. The plant is a host plant. What will happen if a parasite attacks? It will get various disease based on the parasite. So likewise, this protozoa is also a parasite, and this parasite will cause disease. Example, Plasmodium. So Plasmodium is the name of a protozoa. This is a name of a protozoa. Plasmodium. What this Plasmodium does is it causes malaria. So this causes only malaria. Plasmodium, which is a protozoa that only causes malaria. So these are the 5 types of microorganisms that we saw. First is the virus, then bacteria, and third is the fungi, algae and protozoa. And finally, this is the harmful effects of microorganisms. What are the harmful effects of microorganisms? So some of the microorganisms like protozoans and some of the fungi and all will cause disease. So some causes disease. So these disease causing organisms, these disease causing microorganisms are called as pathogens. The disease causing microorganisms are called as pathogens. And what they will do, they will spoil the leather material, those that were used for making belt and shoes. Those leather, the food is also getting spoiled by microscopic organisms only, and the clothing, some of the clothing, the fiber, the cotton and all will be affected by this microorganisms only. These parasitic microorganisms will cause disease and they will spoil leather, food and clothing. So these are the about the microorganisms and the types and their harmful effects. So I will just give a recap of it from the first. First is we saw what is microorganisms. They are minute single-celled organisms. Example, bacteria. They will be present both in unicellular and multicellular organisms. They will survive in extreme conditions, that is in extreme cold condition, -degree condition, or in extreme hot summers. They are able to survive even in salty conditions under water also. They will be able to survive. So they survive in extreme conditions. Next, we are going to see the types of virus. We saw first the virus first. The types of microorganisms. First is the virus. This virus will be in crystallized state when they are present on non-living thing. When it enters the living body, it will start multiplying on living organisms. Next is bacteria. Bacteria is a single cell organism, so only one cell will be present for all the functioning. It is included under plant kingdom. So it is included under plant kingdom. Why? Because it has rigid cell wall. So since this characteristic is present, since it has rigid cell wall, it is included under plant kingdom, and it will be visible under microscope. When placed under a microscope, we can see the bacteria. And third is the fungi. It is a non-green plant. Non-green plant means absence of chlorophyll denotes it is a non-green plant, and it cannot synthesize their own food. They depend on other organisms for nutrition supply. Some are saprophytes. Saprophytes means they depend on dead and decayed matter for nutrition. And parasites, they will attack the live human body or live plant body and suck up the nutrients from it for growing. So those are called parasites. So some fungi are parasites and some are saprophytes. And the fourth one is algae. Algae is a green substance that you can find on the river and lake. It will be present on wet surfaces where the moisture content is high, where it is wet always. In such places you can find algae, and it will synthesize their own food. It can synthesize its own food. That is because it has chlorophyll. It is green in color. It has chlorophyll. So through photosynthesis it can produce its own food. Then finally protozoa. Protozoa is a unicellular animal. Unicellular means one-celled animal. Only one cell will take part in all the activities. It is a small organ. These protozoans, some of them are parasites. So like I said, they will attack the living body and take up the nutrients from it. Those are called parasites, and these parasites will cause disease. Some protozoans will cause disease. Example, Plasmodium. This Plasmodium is a protozoan that causes malaria. Plasmodium is a protozoan that causes malaria. And finally, the harmful effects of microorganisms. First is some of the microorganisms will cause disease, and they are called pathogens. The organisms that cause disease are called pathogens, and these microorganisms will spoil leather, food and clothing. They will affect the body and take up the nutrients. They will affect the leather and take up the nutrients. They will spoil the food also. They will spoil the fiber and clothing also. So these are the about the microorganisms, its types and the harmful effects. So children, your classwork will be given through PDF format and sent in WhatsApp. Try to question all the answers correctly and do it properly. Thank you, children.